Hello everyone and welcome back to the second portion of the week 3 task list. As you saw, I came in the way that we usually do, and then you have the sessions due for this week. Session 1 I just covered in the video previous to this one, so I will just cover very quickly session 2 so that you know exactly what to expect. So in this session, we will be wrapping up comprehension. So we've been looking at the 5 components of reading, and comprehension is obviously the most important one and what leads to comprehension. So, and then everything that we can do to help students become better readers. And we've been covering that. So this PowerPoint, which you will find here, as always, you can click on the link and it'll take you to the PowerPoint presentation, and as you can see in this PowerPoint you'll be reviewing what comprehension is, what it builds upon, and then you'll be looking at everything that we can do as educators to help students become better readers, more active and engaged readers. As so far we've covered reciprocal teaching, collaborative strategic reading, and close reading, and in this week's PowerPoint I'll also discuss, you'll also read some other strategies that come straight from the class textbook. And like everything else, they're all before reading, during reading, and after reading strategies, just like the 3 that you've already become, I hope, very familiar with. So this is this week's PowerPoint. The next thing I want you to do is become very familiar with something called visible thinking routines. So I ask that you work through the Visible Thinking Routines website, which can be found in this link, and I want to go there now so that you can see what it looks like. So here you have an introduction or an explanation of what a thinking routine is, and then an introduction to what visible thinking routines are. And each visible thinking routine has a separate goal, and the goal is a particular way that we want students to think. And as you know, the Common Core is constantly asking for students to cite textual evidence, to think critically. But if we don't establish routines in our classrooms that are constantly challenging students to think out loud and think with each other and think more critically, then it'll be very difficult for them to be able to do that during testing or at any point of their life, really. And testing is not the objective here, or getting them ready for the Common Core is certainly not the objective. The objective should be that your students are thinking critically all of the time in your class, but it doesn't have to feel like onerous or boring. And I think visible thinking routines are the best way of going about this. So as you can see here, I've asked that you choose 2 of these and that you share them on the Padlet. And if we go back to the document, you see that I said share 2 visible thinking routines in the Padlet. And I will go to that Padlet in a second, but I want to make sure that we explore one of these routines and I explain what it's like. So the first routine here is what makes you say that. And the way to think about thinking routines is that teachers are there only as facilitators. You don't want to tell your students what to think or show them how to think it. You really want to have them explore something in depth, and you're just there as a note taker. You can be writing things on the board or on the whiteboard as they think out loud through something. But the most important thing is for them to become critical, critical thinkers on their own. And then at the end of the visible thinking routine, you can certainly share some of your own thinking. Because it's important for them to see how you thought through something as well. So in this routine, this one's what makes you say that. And they're called visible thinking routines because usually they start with an image. So in this case, I want to show you exactly how I would go about completing this routine in the class. So first, I would show students a picture, hopefully a powerful image, something that will get them thinking. And for this visible thinking routine, I would ask, as it says here, what's going on? So what is going on in that picture? And and you'll have students discuss many things. And I would only show them the picture. I would cut and paste this picture so that it would show up in a document by itself. I wouldn't have any of these sidebars available to them because then that would give them hints or clues. So I would just sit in class and say, what's going on? And then you'd have students start to conjecture what could be going on here. I mean, you'll see that students definitely understand very, 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 very soon that it's obviously a race of some kind because of the numbers that people are wearing, that it's not a race that happened currently, not only because it's a black and white image, but because of the type of clothing people are wearing. And then they start thinking about, well, what's going on? Like, what are they doing to her? Are they helping her? Are they pushing her? Obviously, they're pushing her. And then they'll start discussing possibilities of why they're pushing her. And as a facilitator, you're just there to record those thoughts. And then as they start conjecturing what could be happening in the picture, you just ask, so what do you see that makes you say that? So if I have a student that says, well, this didn't happen like in 2017, obviously it happened like circa whatever, I would ask, well, what do you see? What evidence do you have of the fact that this picture isn't current? This just didn't happen. And then I would continue to probe their thinking. And I would use this probably to begin a discussion, maybe even on feminism, because as many of you may know, this was indeed the first woman to ever run in a marathon, in the Boston Marathon. And those men, indeed, some of those men were trying to pull her out of the race, which we understand is obviously disheartening, if nothing else, and shocking that something like this could have happened. But I would definitely use a visible thinking routine like this as a way of having us begin a unit. And we were just talking about text sets in the previous video. So I would definitely include this as a text set. So I would have students read various articles and anchor texts around some sort of inquiry question regarding women in society and feminism, or what Trump means to current feminism, or something along those lines. That would be an inquiry question, and I would definitely use a visible thinking routine to get my students to start thinking about these really complicated issues. So then I just ask that you share two of the visible thinking routines here on this Padlet, and as you share, I ask that you would explain how you would use the routine, why you would use it, what materials or pictures would you use with it, and how it fits into the comprehension strategies you've already covered. I also want you to think about how it would fit in with a culturally competent pedagogy. So if you click here, you will go to the Padlet, and as you see, there are already two students that have presented their two visible thinking routines, so thank you for doing that. And if you see here, it's very easy to add to a Padlet. All you have to do is double click in a space that's empty, and you will have your area to post. So as you can see, this was a test that I was doing, and I want to just show you that it's easy, obviously, to delete, but you don't want to do that unless, of course, you're very sure. And when your post first opens, that's when you can go ahead. At that point, it allows you to add an attachment of some sort. It can be a video, it can be an image, and I did want you to attach an image to these posts for visible thinking routines if possible. So as you can see here, you would type your name, and then you would choose the two routines. And once you've done that and selected an image or an error, or you feel you're done, you can click out of it, and then your post is complete. But of course, if you decide that you reread it and there's a mistake, or you decide that you want to add something or edit it all together, you can go into this pencil icon and edit the post. And again, you click out and it's done. So I hope that you're all feeling more comfortable with this second session of the third week. And the only thing actually due for this session is the Padlet. So I think it's a shorter section since I'm having you work on your videos. And those videos, as I said before, the collaborative strategic reading, the close reading, or the reciprocal teaching strategy that you'll be sharing in that video is not due till August 6th. So again, thank you for listening to me, and I will send yet another video on that explains what you have to do for the reciprocal teaching, collaborative strategic reading, or close reading share out. Hope you're well.